I'm exploring the different contributions of the two hemispheres to our understanding of the human world. And this is a very important part of anybody's intelligence and ability to understand, is to be able to read implicit signals, to have a sense of what is real and what is not, to be able to see another person's point of view, to be able to respond not just in the abstract, in a somewhat computer-like fashion, but using the whole of our emotional and embodied being. If we can't take part in these exchanges, then there's something gone missing from reality. Early on in the book, I think I make this point, which probably runs like a thread through the whole thing, which is that experience is an encounter. I really think that's so important. There are two things about an encounter. One is that it's a relationship, not a thing, and it's a process that moves, not static. And on top of that, it's something that makes us understand the unique case, whereas otherwise we become too general. Yes, I mean, it's about how to understand the meaning of something that somebody does, their expressions, their tone of voice, the things they don't say, all that comes out that's metaphorical and implicit, all these things which really underlie our understanding, as you quite rightly say, of the whole world, since after all, we are humans. But I was meaning specifically and more the human world, because there are kinds of understanding, for example, of engineering, that don't involve a great deal of emotional and social intelligence.
Yes, let's come back to emotional considerations and your refinement proposal of kind of an alternative theory of this kind of easy but incorrect and too simplistic way of summarizing the whole thing as one hemisphere does emotion and the other one does cool rational thinking. I mean, you correct that and refine it, and also you can talk about, I was very curious to read about anger, irritability and disgust as the exception that kind of refines this view of emotions in the brain.
Yes, that's right. And a very good place to start is with the idea of this cool, rational, unemotional left hemisphere. Is the left hemisphere both cognitively tends to jump to conclusions and emotionally tends towards anger and irritability. So anger is one of the most clearly lateralized of all emotions, and it lateralizes to the left hemisphere, not the right. So both hemispheres are able to experience and underwrite emotions. Are there any differences? It's one of the theories that's enjoyed currency for several decades now is the idea of the approach withdrawal model, in which the left hemisphere underwrites emotions that are associated with approaching something, some creature, some situation, and the right hemisphere by contrast with emotions associated with withdrawal. There are a number of difficulties here, but several overarching reviews of the area show that if anything, it's the other way around. And there are certainly enough examples of emotions which are really emotions of approach that are underwritten by the right hemisphere and not by the left. What I note is we need to be able to discriminate because there are differences between the emotional capacities of the two hemispheres. And one way of looking at this is that in keeping with the left hemisphere's desire for cooperation, for understanding, for empathy, for social bonding, the emotions associated with it, such as sadness, compassion, guilt, are associated with the right hemisphere, and those that are associated with social rivalry, such as irritability, anger and disgust, are associated with the left hemisphere. This not only makes complete sense, but is in accord with the, in the best possible, in the greatest degree, with the available scientific information.
And this